The news you can count on. Mayport to Ponte Vedra Beach. The Island Times News Update begins right now. Here's Tom Patton.
Welcome to the Island Times News Update. I'm Tom Patton. Jacksonville Beach will completely rewrite its policy on festivals, and council members will no longer be involved in promoting those festivals as the result of a report looking into how special events are handled in the city. The report was prepared by attorney John Dickinson at the request of City Attorney Susan Erdely and presented to the Jacksonville City Council at a special meeting Thursday night. The report focused on the participation of members of the City Council in the organizing and presentation of multiple special events in the city. While Dickinson's report did not conclude that there was any wrongdoing by any member of the council, he was not able to interview either Councilman Keith Doherty or Councilman Phil Vogelsang on the advice of the attorneys representing both of those members. The report did outline several instances where there could have been an appearance of a problem and said that some members of the city staff felt like they had been pressured by elected officials. Both Vogelsang and Doherty denied that they had brought any pressure to bear on any city employee, and Vogelsang presented documents he received from the State Ethics Commission that said, based on the facts he had presented to them, there was no ethical violation by he or Doherty being involved with the beach's Oktoberfest event. Doherty has been involved in other events held in the city. Mayor Charlie Latham said that the city's special events policy should be completely rewritten to make it clear that members of the council should not be involved with such events, and he hoped for a reasonable resolution to the issue.
My personal opinion is this, if all council members, and I mean that inclusive of all council members, are willing to completely remove themselves from these festivals, and we set a policy in place that enforces that legally, I'm willing to move forward and let's move on. We got a lot of things, we've made some great progress for the city, and I hate to sit there and see the wheels fall off because of an appearance. And this is we've been exposed to the root of the ethics issue is the appearance.
The council will come back and hammer out the details of the new policy over the next several months. Both Vogelsang and Doherty said they would agree to remove themselves from any involvement with the events with which they had been associated. The dispute over whether landowners can build a 40-foot-high bed and breakfast on property they own at 108 Orange Street in Neptune Beach is back in Neptune Beach's court, with the city facing a January 27th deadline to respond to a filing under Florida's Burt Harris Act. The property owners, Doug and Becky Driver, claim that the city's denial of their plan to build the bed and breakfast on the small lot has decreased the value of the property by $82,500, and the drivers want the city to reimburse them for their loss. However, the city disputes that claim. City Attorney Patrick Krachowski said at Tuesday night's City Council meeting that an independent appraisal of the property commissioned by the city showed that the property is worth substantially more as a residence than as a business.
I've also received information that any monetary settlement that would be that the drivers may be willing to accept would be something I would characterize as completely unreasonable. Not only given their appraisal, which I think is flawed, but given our appraisal.
Krachowski said the higher value as a residence is based on the small size of the property and the fact that it's isolated from the commercial district. Even though it is technically in the CDB, it is surrounded by residential properties. Krachowski said that in his official response to the drivers, he would be required to disclose the allowed uses of the property under the city's zoning code, which does include a bed and breakfast. He also advised the city that their response to the drivers can be that they will not make any offer for compensation. The council will hold a special voting meeting on January 17th prior to their workshop meeting to approve its official response before the deadline. The Neptune Beach City Council took an initial vote on an ordinance making changes in its police pension plan, facing a March deadline imposed by the state. The biggest concern of the council was the city's obligation to make the pension plan whole should the investments in the plan perform below expectations, and how that will affect the 13th check offered to retirees. Councilman Richard Arthur cited the minutes of the last pension board meeting, in which the board acknowledged that if the investments did not meet projections, the city would need more money to meet its obligations.
In that if it's a very poor performing year, the city's going to have to fork out more and more, even when they're having to pay more in that plan when you have a guaranteed rate of return on there. So, I think if the plan meets or exceeds its rate of return, then it triggers this additional supplemental benefit section.
Councilman John Jolly said he had several amendments he wanted to offer to the ordinance, but also knew that there is a time constraint the city is under. The council unanimously passed the pension plan, but they will discuss several amendments at their upcoming workshop meeting on January 17th. Neptune Beach residents and visitors may soon be able to take their dogs on the beach anytime under changes approved on first reading by the Neptune Beach City Council. The change is part of a larger revision to the city's animal control ordinance that's been under consideration since last year. Currently, the city only allows dogs on the beach between the hours of 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. The changes would allow dogs on the beach 24 hours a day every day of the year. Dogs would have to be on a 12-foot leash whenever they're on the beach. Councilman Scott Wiley objected to the change and suggested a modified proposal that would allow dogs on the beach all day during months when standard time is observed, but would keep them off the beach as they are now during daylight savings time.
But I just think that beachgoers, residents in Neptune Beach, I think, go down Sundays, play games, whatever they want to do. And a dog, I know I just don't know how it would work, even if the 12-foot leash is like a long one.
Right.
And I think it would just be, I just don't think that it's something that I've never been called about.
Right.
And I just couldn't go along with that at this time.
But Councilman Rory Diamond disagreed, saying he would like to see residents be able to take their dogs onto the beach anytime they like, and would hold firm on that position. He also proposed several amendments to the ordinance, including one that would make it a misdemeanor for people to claim their dog was a service animal when it was not properly trained.
Folks are going on the internet, they're purchasing a vest, they're putting it on their pet, and then they're taking their pet on airplanes to restaurants, to schools, into City Hall. And there are health code issues with multiple pets being inside like that. There are issues with disturbing other people's actual service dogs and that they're being attacked by untrained fake service dogs. But probably the thing that happens the most often is the harassment of those who actually have and need a service dog, but they don't have an obviously visible disability. So you see somebody who's blind or who's in a wheelchair and the dog's pulling them down, you understand that's a service dog. Nobody ever gives those folks any trouble, at least I hope they don't, because it's really easy to understand. You got someone who's a veteran of PTSD who has a service dog, and people are wondering, what's wrong with you? And I can't tell you how often I see people ask our veterans, graduates of Canines for Warriors, what's wrong with you? Or they go to restaurants, they go out to public to try and get into Uber or taxis, and people are harassing you, going well beyond the federally allowed questions of, is this a service dog and what is it trained to perform?
Diamond said there are often issues when a person without an obvious disability has a service dog. The amendment he offered mirrors a Florida statute passed in 2016 concerning fake service dogs, offering concrete definitions and codifying the questions that can be asked by the city's animal control staff. Diamond's amendment was added to the legislation by a unanimous vote of the council. Councilor Wiley also offered an amendment that would have restricted dogs on the beach during months in which daylight savings time is observed, but it failed for lack of a second. The animal control ordinance will be back on the agenda in February for a final vote. The Neptune Beach Council also gave initial approval with no further discussion to a one-year moratorium on the opening of any marijuana growing or dispensing business in the city. The moratorium mirrors those passed in Jacksonville Beach and Atlantic Beach and can be shortened or extended by a vote of the council. It will be back on the agenda for final passage on February 6th. But when we come back, the Atlantic Beach City Manager is under fire from a member of the commission. This is the Island Times News Update.
The news you can count on. The Island Times News Update will be right back.
Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning in Atlantic Beach offers a full range of residential and commercial heating and air conditioning services, from new installation to replacement and remodeling. Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning can keep your home comfortable year-round, and they offer preventive maintenance contracts to keep your system running at peak efficiency. Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning is an authorized Bryant dealer and will service all brands. For year-round comfort in your home or business, contact the original Charlie's Tropic Heating and Air Conditioning at 241-1788. Beaches Academy Child Care Center in Jacksonville Beach has been offering affordable, loving child care to families in the Beaches communities for 35 years. Conveniently located on Penman Road, Beaches Academy offers care for children from infants through preschool, with programs that encourage learning and outdoor play. Our affordable tuition means families can get quality child care at a price that fits their budget. Contact Beaches Academy at 246-3885 and schedule a tour of our center. Beaches Academy, the child always comes first.
Welcome back to the Island Times News Update. I'm Tom Patton. Atlantic Beach Commissioner John Stinson has placed a discussion of the possible termination of the employment of City Manager Nelson Van Leer on the agenda for the Commission's January 9th meeting. Stinson justified the action following a series of events relating to a zoning variance requested by a contractor building a house at 11144 East Coast Drive. A change from shake shingle siding to a brick veneer put the structure out of compliance with the city's required setbacks by about 3.5 inches, but still within the 5% margin that can be approved by the city planning director as a minor dimensional variance. Stinson says that Van Leer intentionally misled residents who live near the house under construction by telling them that the variance was still under consideration when it had been approved and provided to the developer. Stinson also says that Van Leer asked for a review of the variance by the city attorney after it had already been approved, causing the city to incur unnecessary legal expenses. He says that the actions were deceptive because he did not inform the city attorney that the variance had already been approved and delivered to the contractor. 2 littoral combat ships sailed into Naval Station Mayport over the holidays. The 2 ships are the USS Detroit and the USS Milwaukee. Both are the Freedom variant of the Navy's newest combat ships. Milwaukee is the 3rd, and Detroit is the 4th LCS of the Freedom class. They follow USS Freedom and USS Fort Worth. The Navy has proposed that those 2 ships be reassigned to Mayport as well, where they will take on most of the crew training. Mayport will eventually become the home for all of the Navy's Freedom-class littoral combat ships. The City of Neptune Beach has an opening for an experienced information systems administrator. The administrator will institute protocols for the use of IT across departments and projects. The job requires working knowledge of Florida's public records and government in the Sunshine Laws as it relates to electronic record keeping and retention. A high school diploma or equivalent is required, and a minimum of 15 years of experience in the IT field is highly desirable. The successful applicant must be able to obtain criminal justice information clearance. The position reports to the city manager. Neptune Beach will soon be recruiting for a new city clerk. The city must determine if the position will be full-time or part-time and set a salary for the job. That discussion will be held at an upcoming council meeting to give direction to the city manager. And the St. Johns River Ferry is closed for the month of January. The Jacksonville Transportation Authority is working on the ferry landing slips and making other improvements on both sides of the river.
The news you can count on. Mayport to Ponte Vedra Beach, forecasting your beaches. This is your local look weather.
The National Weather Service says we can expect a chilly, rainy Saturday with highs in the upper 50s, then cold Saturday night with a low in the upper 30s. Sunday's high won't get back out of the mid-40s. It will slowly get warmer next week, though, with a high in the mid-50s on Monday, and Tuesday's high back into the mid-60s. The Island Times is always digital, always free at theislandtimes.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to be the first to know about stories posted on the Island Times. I'm Tom Patton. Thanks for watching.